Hi, it's Alex at Royston, Lund. Super excited to be able to show you around this property behind me up on Dovedale Road. If you live in West Bridgford, you'll have heard the term Goodchild. Arthur Goodchild was a local builder born in Bridgford in 1886. The Dovedale Road and various properties dotted in and around West Bridgford, so on Ellesmere Road, Pryor Road, were all designed and built by Arthur Goodchild, mid to late 1920s into the 1930s. They were and still are some of the main addresses that people want to live in West Bridgford. So even back in the 1920s, the roads that he was constructing homes on were very much the most sought after addresses to live on. There would have been a huge demand by some of the most well-off people at that time to live in these kinds of areas, as a means of them showing their wealth. So typically, Goodchild built homes are large, they command a presence, they're set well back from the road. Goodchild was big on entrance hallways, big on stained glass feature windows in and around those entrance hallways, as well as turrets, feature chimneys, and really good sized plots. Through the door at number 29, this is typical Goodchild. This is actually one of the more modest examples of a Goodchild built home, being a 5-bedroom detached and having arguably one of the smaller examples of entrance hallway. This is ironic given that this particular house we're stood in today was Arthur Goodchild's actual known address in 1939. There are some really clear, good examples of what a Goodchild build has to offer. So we have this ornate shelving, we've got the beams across the ceiling, we've got the large entrance hallway and the grand stairwell with the feature stained glass, huge window allowing lots of light to flood in. This lounge is typical Goodchild build, really well proportioned, even by modern standards. So you have the stained glass windows, picture rails throughout, the beams, and this beautiful big bay window as a real feature. By far my favourite feature about this room in particular is this ornate fireplace behind me. These are synonymous for being in his homes. So you have this beautiful, sort of intricate fire surround, really making it the heart and the focal point of the room. As we enter the main kitchen dining space, the current owners have brought it bang up to date with this beautiful contemporary fitted kitchen. The open plan space originally would have been 2 rooms. There is a nod, however, to the past with a beautiful bay window overlooking the more than ample rear garden, again with plot size being synonymous of a Goodchild build. So out in the rear garden, as you can see, nicely landscaped rear garden. Plot sizes along Dovedale Road do vary. Some of the larger plots are actually large enough to have swimming pools or tennis courts set within them, with this example being more modest and more average to the type. Upstairs we've got 5 double bedrooms, but before we talk about that, let's have a look at this fantastic stained glass window. There's elements and features of a church, what looks like a boat on a river, a castle. In the front door, there's a windmill. These features aren't found in modern day homes. Your Bellways, your David Wilsons are beginning to take note of 1920s, 1930s architecture with more grand entrance hallways, but they won't ever really be a patch on what's here and what was built in the 1920s, and that's one of the main driving features behind the demand for house types like this. Up here there are 3 really good sized doubles, with an ensuite being to bedroom 2. There's a further 2 really good sized rooms. Here in the principal suite, this beautiful bay window behind me. This bay continues up from where we were in the kitchen earlier on, all the way up the height of the property, and then finishes off with a mock Tudor facade. The real testament to a Goodchild built home is that in the late 1920s when they were built, they were one of the places to live. That's still the case 100 years later. Arthur Goodchild died in 1966, and I think he'd be really proud to know that some of these homes are the places to live a century on.